Gentlemen, what is going on today? My name is Ryan Mickler. I'm your host. I'm also the founder of the Order of Man podcast and movement. And if you're new, and you might be new because the amount of subscribers that we've had, gosh, over the past 4 months or so has been incredible. And that's a testament to the power of the guests that we've had on. We've had Tim Tebow on, and we had Dave Rubin on a couple of weeks ago. Vic Blends was this week. And we've got some other exciting guests. So make sure you subscribe. And also, before I get into the meat of this discussion today, make sure you check out the two events that I mentioned last week. The first one is our Man Uncaged Summit. You can check that out at manuncaged.com/live. I'm going to be speaking with John Lovell, Bedros Keuilian, Jack Donovan, Tanner Guzzi, Matt Boudreau. Did I say John Lovell? I probably forgot some people in there, but guys, it's going to be awesome. And that's on May 7th in Northern California. It's a 1-day event. You're going to mingle with us. We've got a workout plan. We're going to be interacting. We're going to be sharing obviously concepts and ideas with you, but I would love to see you there with me and the rest of the guys. You can do that again at manuncaged.com/live. And the other event is our Squire program that's happening here on my property in Maine. You're going to see the barn. You're going to see the 50 acres. You're going to go on this incredible hike. We've got something planned, something special for you guys on that hike. And Bedros and his team, including Ray Kerr, are going to be out here. Unbelievable. It's going to be for you and your son. This is a rite of passage type program. And we're going to be pushing you physically, mentally, emotionally, but it's all from a good place, all wanting you and your boys to thrive. So you can check that out. I only have 5 spots left on that one, or maybe less now. You can check it out at squireprogram.com/Ryan, and that one's May 28th. All right. With that said, let's talk with you about the 4 great lies of femininity. Because last week, if you didn't hear, was the first series of this, and I talked about the 4 great lies of masculinity. And those 4 great lies were masculinity is inherently toxic. The second lie is that masculinity is inherently virtuous. The third lie was that masculinity is earned. And the fourth lie is that masculinity is not as needed as it was once in society. So if you hear those and you think that's right, or maybe you think that's wrong, how could that be accurate? How could that be true? Go back and listen to that, and then we'll have a discussion about it. But today, because I told you in that one that I would share with you the concept about the 4 great lies of femininity, I thought I'd share with you right now. Tripping over my words, can't think. So the first one that I wrote down here, and I think this has permeated so much of society, and it's so frustrating to me, and that is that women have to be more like men in order to be feminine or in order to be strong, good women. Guys, that just isn't true. All right. When we do this game of trying to make feminine women more masculine or masculine men more feminine, all we end up doing is creating inferior versions of men and inferior versions of women. I get so frustrated. I got a picture of my wife right there. And I get so frustrated because my wife has been a homemaker now for, well, ever since we started having kids. So almost 15 years, 14 years ago. And she's been at home. And she's turned the house into a home, and she's raised our children. She's primarily responsible for homeschooling right now. And she has not worked outside of the house in those 14 years. The first couple of years where we were married, she did. But once we started having kids, she was done. And that was always her plan. And I'm not saying that needs to be the path for every woman. Trust me. But I'm never going to mock and ridicule a woman who decides that she wants to go into the workforce and that's important to her. The same way that so many people will mock and belittle and put down women who decide to stay at home and turn their house into a home and be a loving housewife and homemaker. I mean, even those words, some people have a hard time saying housewife and homemaker because they think it has a negative connotation. It doesn't have a negative connotation at all. In fact, it's one of the most beautiful things that a woman can do, that she honors her femininity, that she realizes that she doesn't need to go out into the workforce. She doesn't need to act like a man, that she can take care of her family. She can do that in righteousness. She can take care of me. She can provide for me as I provide for her in a different way. And there's honor in that. She knows herself to be a feminine, beautiful woman because she's happy with what she's doing. And ironically enough to me, It's the feminists who belittle a woman who do that. It's not men. It's not other feminine women. It's the feminists. The ones that say, hey, we want women to have the power to choose. And then you say, good, I want to stay at home. And they're like, you're going to be a slave to your husband. And he's just going to keep you barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. And yet they have no problem with women going out into the workforce and working for another man, likely out in the workforce, another stranger who cares nothing about them, who has no vested interest outside of what they can produce to the company. And that's feminine power. That's not femininity. Ladies, please understand, if you want to go to the workforce and that's something you want to do, all the power to you. I want you to be successful in that venture. I don't want you to abdicate your responsibility as a mother, but I still do want you to be successful in the workforce. But ladies, if you're listening to this and you think, I've always wanted to be a homemaker, I've always wanted to be a housewife, I've always wanted to stay home and raise my children in righteousness, or even try homeschooling and be here and be supportive of my husband, then you do that. And you be the best at that. And it doesn't make you worse. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you inferior. It doesn't make you less of a woman. You are feminine the way that you are. And I think we need to do a better job in society, especially those feminists, honoring what true femininity looks like, which is having the option and then stepping fully into who they are as women. Number two is the lie is that femininity is weak. So we'll hear things like, oh, masculinity is strong. And yeah, it is strong. Sure. But femininity is not weak. It's different. But I don't know about you guys. Like, my wife had to birth our 4 children. My wife goes through just as much bull crap every single day, trying to take the kids through homeschool and trying to keep them from fighting each other and signing up for things and extracurricular activities, and all the stuff that she goes through is just as demanding, if not more so, than what I have to go through. And so does that mean that because she knows who she is as a woman, that she's weak? No, I'd say it's actually a strength. Now it's different. I mean, physically, I'm stronger than her. I think that's generally true. I think emotionally, I have the potential to be more stoic than she does. I think a lot of the times, I'm speaking in generalities, that women are going to be more in tune with their emotional feeling side of the decision-making process. And men generally are going to be more in tune with the rational, logical decision-making side of the process. And that's not to say that either one of us can't tap into the other side. You know, we all make emotional decisions as men, whether we want to realize it or not. And I'm not even suggesting even remotely that women can't be rational or logical. I'm just saying there's a precedent for women on the emotion and the empathy and how in tune they are with other people. I'm not like that. Most of the men I know are not like that. We can be, and we are at times, but not generally. So ladies, it's not weak. You're not weak. Guys, you know that. If you've had a woman in your life, whether it's your mother or an aunt or your grandma or your wife or your daughters or siblings, you know how strong women can be. It isn't weak, and it isn't inferior, by the way. And again, I can't help but say this. It's not the men who are saying this. It's not the men who are saying women are weak. It's the feminists. It's the feminists. And they're saying femininity is weak, therefore go out in the workforce and act like a man so you can be strong. And so what they're actually simultaneously saying is you're weak. The way you are is weak. I'm not saying that. The men I know don't say that. It's the feminists, the ones who say they're on your side and they're not. So that's the second great lie, is that femininity is weak. It's not at all. Number 3 is, I'm going to get fired up on some of this. This one I'm going to get really fired up, is that your femininity is about more than you biologically bringing children into the world. And there's a real common trend, and I'll explain why this trend is happening, that I see, where people are beginning to call women chest feeders, birthing people, bleeders. This is horrible. I was talking with my wife about this earlier today because I wanted her input on this. And she said, you know, I'm not one to get offended about what people say. And she's not. She's very emotionally stable and resilient that way. She doesn't get offended or put off lightly. But she said, but this I get really offended by. Because what they're doing is they're dismissing what it means to be feminine and what it means to be a woman in general. And they're just relegating it to the fact that I can pop babies out of my vagina. Okay, that's a horrible, horrible way to look at women. You're a chest feeder. Oh, because you have breasts that provide milk to your babies, that's what you're relegated to? Because your womb was made to carry life inside of you, and you can push that through the vaginal canal and bring life into the world. That's what you're relegated to? Or that you have a period each month and that's part of the natural cycle of life. And look, I don't enjoy talking about that, but it's got to be brought up. And that's what you're relegated to? What a shame. Ladies, you really got to do a better job. I'm going to work for it, but you really got to do a better job too, making sure that you don't get assigned to these simple, just like pushed off to these like biological things that you happen to be able to do when it comes to nurturing and raising children, or not even that, just bringing children into the world. But I'll tell you why this is the case. It's because of this whole transgenderism idea, right? Because if we said that a woman is gives birth, and then you have one side of the equation that says, well, anybody can be a woman as long as you feel like it. See how there's a conflict there? So the LGBTQI plus whatever theory or ideology says that we can't call people who bring babies into the world, we can't call them women, because if we call them women, then we simultaneously undermine our own position, which is that anybody who just feels like it, including myself, could potentially be a woman. So therefore, they've had to assign you a thing, just like an art, not even arbitrary, just take one element of who you are biologically and say, well, they're not women, they're bleeders. That's not a woman, that's a chest feeder. That's not a woman, that's a person who gives birth. It's this manipulation of language that infuriates me, because I know what the play is, and you know what the play is too. So don't put up with this, okay? Femininity is more than your biological ability to bring children into the world. It's your love, it's your empathy, it's your compassion. It is your feelings. You know, when I ask my wife about things, she leads with that emotional side, and I ask her because I don't have that as prevalent in me, and I appreciate it. She's very intuitive. So I'll say, what do you think about this? She's like, I don't like that. Or she'll say, you know, I don't like that person. Be careful around that person. I don't like that person. Because she's in tune with it. And it's more than just, hey, she can push babies through her vaginal canal. It's no, she can be a mother, and she can be lovely, and she can turn the house into a home, and she can offer support and empathy and guidance and direction and love. I think about the most simple scenario when my kids are out riding their bikes. My youngest, who's 6, he does pretty good on a bike, but occasionally he'll fall and he'll scrape his knee. And what do? I'm like, get up, rub some dirt on it, wipe it off, do whatever, get back on that bike. And what does mom do? Hey, come here. Let me hold you. Let me wipe that off. Let me kiss it. Let me wash it off and put a Band-Aid on it. Is she wrong? No. Am I wrong? No. And the kids need both masculinity and femininity in harmony. But it isn't about being a chest feeder or a bleeder or a birthing person or any of these other bullshit terms that people use because their ideology doesn't line with the reality of the situation. And then the last point I want to make, and this point is actually the same point I made last week with regards to men. Last week, regarding masculinity, I said that masculinity is not needed in society as much as it once was. That's the lie. Well, the same holds true for femininity. That femininity is not as needed as it once was. And what do you hear people say? Right? Oh, woman empowerment. I don't need a man. I can do this all on my own. I don't need a man. Okay, well, maybe you can, and maybe you've been put in the position where you've had to. My mother was in that position. She raised my sister and I primarily on her own. But even her, she would admit, she'd say, hey, you know, that's not ideal. And it doesn't make you weaker or pathetic or whatever to have a man in your life. Like what a silly thought. That anytime you decide to partner with somebody else, it inherently makes you weaker. Ladies, you're beautiful. You're strong in many ways. You're special. You're important. You're an integral part of society, just like men are. And it doesn't make me weak to decide that I want to partner with a woman and walk hand in hand with her through life. And it doesn't make you weak for deciding you want the same from a man. Now, I know you can open the doors. I know you can put your luggage in the airplane the same way a guy can. I know you can run and be fit. Like, I know you can do all these things. Everybody knows. Men know you can do these things. But when I offer to hold a door open for a woman, by the way, I've never had a woman turn that down. Personally, I know that happens, but I've never had. It doesn't mean I think you're incapable. It means I honor you. When a woman comes on the airplane and she's got a big, heavy roller and she's trying to put it up in the thing, and I say, hey, can I help you? And she's like, oh, sure. And I grab it and I put it. It doesn't mean I think she's weak. Like, I think she could probably get it. It means I honor you. I respect you. Like, you're a woman. I think that's my job, to respect women. And, you know, I already hear what people are saying. They're like, oh, well, you know, like, they don't respect you. That's not true. Some maybe, but the women that I know are beautiful, and they're lovely, and they're strong, and they're convicted, and they have empathy and compassion and kindness and heart in a way that I don't. So femininity is needed, especially in this cold society that we live in. Everything is cold. Everything is calculated. Everything is methodical. Everything is kept track of. Scores are kept. Tallies are totaled. And it's all about the bottom line. We need femininity now more than ever. Kindness, empathy, nurturing, support, guidance, intuition, love. This is what we need. So ladies, please, as you hear this, don't ever think that you need to act like a man. Don't ever think like you're weak. Don't ever think that you're not needed in society. You are just as much as men in a different way. And that's okay. Not only is it okay, it's encouraged. It's important. This is crucial that we have feminine women and we have masculine men all working to fulfill our roles. And even as I say that, roles, oh my gosh, roles, wow, outdated. Oh, you're tyrannical patriarchy. Roles, what are you talking about? Yeah, roles. Because you know where your fulfillment is found? In stepping into your femininity. Nurturing kids, raising children, offering support, being nurturing. And where is fulfillment found for men? In protecting and providing and presiding. Surely you're capable of some of those things, but I'm just telling you, our fulfillment is found in those things. Your fulfillment is found in something else. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's something very right about that, actually. So I figured today, guys, I would share the 4 great lies about femininity, since I shared the 4 great lies about masculinity last week. And I hope you agree. And if you don't, or I'm missing something, maybe I misinterpreted, or maybe I missed something altogether, then please shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever, YouTube, whatever. And let me know. Let's continue the discussion. But guys, this stuff's crucial. We're going to get more in depth in all this. And we have, and we're going to do it even more so as we move forward. All right, guys, remember our events, May 7th. You can go to manuncaged.com/live. And then May 28th is our Squire program out here, squireprogram.com/Ryan. All right, you guys, we will be back next week. Until then, go out there, take action, and become the man, or in this case, the woman you are meant to be.